Hi, everybody. This is Lowell, and we're talking about how to start a music school. And this section is talking about leadership skills and people skills. And probably one of the most difficult things to master is this one is to communicate. Most organizations rise or fall based upon the leader's ability to communicate well, and that can, be contingent upon the leader's insecurities. It's like they don't want to talk to people because they don't feel secure in themselves in order to project confidence to people and relationships, and so they kind of withdraw, or they just don't know how to speak to people in a respectful manner. They don't have empathy. They feel awkward. There's all sorts of reasons why people don't communicate, but communication is the glue that holds an organization together. And so part of communication is actually knowing what to communicate and what needs to be communicated, which I'll talk about later in terms of priorities and personal discipline in terms of time management. But the ability to actually pick up the phone, and not text. Text is fine for a few things, but the best type of communication is in person, and the second best is actually having a real conversation over the phone if it has to be, or some other medium. But in person is always the best. And then secondly is some type of verbal communication in some other form, and then after that are your written forms. And so you have to communicate with your students, obviously, if you're teaching, the parents. A lot of teachers don't like communicating to the parents. They just want to teach the students. But it's a combined effort is to work together with the parents and to have a good relationship with the parents. And then, obviously, as a leader of a school, you need to have good, wholesome relationships with your teachers, the other teachers that are working with you. And so, one of the most important parts of communication, I was thinking about, a phone. Whenever you have a phone that you're talking with somebody, there are two features on your phone. One is where you talk into, and the other is where you listen. And so when you're communicating, both parties have to have both of those lines of communication open. And so some leaders approach communication where it's just, their phone is only to speak and the other person's phone is only to hear. And so a leader that has that mindset where they're only willing to share their ideas but not listen to the other people's ideas, that's not communication. Communication is a two-way street. So you, as a leader, you should be willing to listen to the needs and to the desires of the people that you're working with and for. And it's really, the word is empathy. If you have empathy for the ability to see how another person sees, the ability to get inside of that person's mindset and understand how they're viewing life, that's empathy. And so it takes imagination a little bit, and it takes a willingness to not be selfish, and it takes basically humility to not have to demand your way all the time, and to listen to what the other party is asking for or talking about, and to honor the other person, which goes back to one of the earlier things that I said in terms of leadership and people skills is believe in others. That was the first one that I wrote, or I spoke on. And so if you believe that other people are valuable, then you will listen to them. And listening is 50% of communication. A lot of people think communication is just you doing all the talking, but listening is 50% of communication. So as a leader, you need to be listening as well as speaking. But communication is the glue that holds everything together. And so make sure that you have an open door policy where, anybody that needs to talk to you or has a problem or has anything that they are concerned about, that you are there ready to listen and help.